Hey guys, all right, it's day 4, early in the day. I'm not going to post this until later on tonight, but this is my full day food log, like I had talked about earlier. And the reason I'm doing this is a couple things. I have had some folks ask me why I'm so concerned about my macronutrients. Can't you just eat vegan and not worry about it? Well, no. And the reason why is because I'm different than you, and that's because I'm diabetic. Now, others out there may also be diabetic, but you're still going to be different because you got a different metabolism. You probably have a different body type. I've mentioned body types before. So what determines the macronutrients that you need are a whole lot of different factors. One of them is the type of body that you have. One of them is, are you male or female? Another is what type of metabolism do you have? Do you have a high metabolism, a low metabolism? How do you metabolize the foods that you eat? With macronutrients, you can track those and you can adjust your body to do what you need your body to do, whether you need to gain weight or whether you need to lose weight. I've had people say to me before, no matter what I do, I can't gain weight. Well, you're not tracking your macros, because if you were, I promise you, you could gain. And what you do is you keep your food diary, and if you're skinnier than you want to be, log your food for a week. See where your macros are. Are you getting a whole lot more carbs than you are fats or proteins? Or are you getting a whole lot of carbs and proteins, but almost no fats? Or are you getting a whole lot of proteins and fats, but almost no carbs? So you can look at your food diary and see where you are with those. And whatever you're high in, try to bring that down and bring the others up by logging the food that you eat, paying attention to the nutrition labels. And if you are really high, 70, 75% on carbohydrates, if you're one of those carbo loaders and you're always skinny, then maybe flop that around. Now, some people, the way they burn carbohydrates, they can eat carbohydrates a little bit and they blow up like a balloon. Other people burn them off like it's rocket fuel. So that's what I'm saying. Macros are different for every single one of us. Now, you probably, before you begin any type of weight control program, just a little disclaimer there, talk to your doctor. Talk to a nutritionist, guys. That's one of the places I learned a lot about this. I was still active duty when I found out I had diabetes, that I was a diabetic. So I got to take a whole lot of different nutrition classes. I was given tons of information on how to eat, and that's where I really first started hearing about macros. Now, where can macros help just the average person? Well, you think about what you're trying to accomplish. Like my buddy Gary Birchfield, he's a bodybuilder. He's trying to cut weight right now. So he's probably watching his fats very, very closely. His macronutrients, he probably wants to be about maybe 40% carbs, 40% protein, and maybe 20% fats, because he's trying to cut. And he's also trying to be in a calorie deficit. Now, by calorie deficit, that's another reason I like the Fitbit app and why I like to track my macros. Because I can see, based on the activities that I've done, how many calories I've burned and how big of a calorie deficit I'm in. It's like right now, another reason macros are important to me is because I want to gain lean body mass. The reason that I'm doing the push-ups and the squats and the curls and those types of exercises, because I want to build lean body mass. I also want to cut fat, and I want to lose weight. So by tracking my macros, tracking my calorie intake, I know that at the end of the day, if I'm at a calorie deficit or if I'm at a calorie surplus. So going back to cutting for bodybuilders, you want to be at a calorie deficit and you want to cut fat. I don't recommend that. I could never be a bodybuilder, because the way those guys do, they'll eat dirty, which means they'll just put all kinds of junk in their body while they're lifting hard in the hopes that some of those nutrients are going to turn into muscle. Now, If you make macros a full part of your diet and you track them all the time, which I'm really bad about doing. I only, when I step on the scale and I really start hating to look at myself in the mirror, do I really break out and start tracking macros again. So if you adjust your body, like at this moment, I want to lose weight, gain lean muscle mass. When I get to the weight that I want to be, then I'll take another look at my macros and I'll adjust the way that they're going in. If I want to start gaining more muscle, I'm not going to eat dirty, but to gain muscle, to really, really gain muscle, you have to be at a calorie surplus. You need to eat more calories than you're burning and make your body storm. So I would take and do anaerobic exercises, things that don't get my heart rate up, where I'm just lifting heavy. I would go as heavy as I could. I would eat as much fats and proteins as I could, and I would kind of cut down a little bit on the carbs. Then when I get my muscle density to where it wants to be, and I want to lean out, but without losing weight, all I want to do is lean off the body fat, then I'm going to keep doing my anaerobic exercise. I want to add some aerobic activity, and I'm going to start cutting out fats, adding some carbohydrates in, keeping my protein high, getting rid of the fats. So it's all with what you're trying to do, and it also depends on you, because just because that works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So we're all different, guys, and that's it. So really, my biggest hope from what I'm going to do today with basically sharing my entire food diary with you is show you why I'm doing what I'm doing with the macros. And a lot of it has to do with my body type, being diabetic, trying to lose weight safely without also losing a lot of muscle. And a lot of times when you start on a diet program and you're cutting those calories and you see that scale dropping fast, what you're losing is muscle and water. You're not really losing fat a lot of times on those, not until you get down to where that's your body's last resort and it's got to start burning into that fat. Unless there's other types of things that you can do. Like one of the reasons I've been exercising, I don't know if you caught earlier that when I'm doing my morning exercises, including up to now where I got my 10 miles in, I did it fasted, which means with 0 calories in my body since I woke up this morning. So that is, there's a lot of arguments out there that that is a good way to make your body burn fat, because when you're getting up and you're just going after it that way, it's the source that your body, and I don't understand the science behind it. It's just a lot of reading and stuff that I've been doing. So the macros, what I'm doing right now, trying to keep my carbs low, because if I don't burn all the carbs that I eat, at the end of the day, my body's going to turn them into sugar, and that's going to spike my glycemic index because I am diabetic. So ideally for me, I want to keep my carbs below 50%. So this morning's meal, and once I edit this down tonight, I'll show you guys the actual macros. But today's meal, my breakfast, what I'm eating right after my exercise, is 370 calories. It is my peanut butter chocolate or my no-bake cookie cold-soaked oats. 370 calories. It's 48% carbohydrates, 18% fats, and 34% proteins. So not exactly where I want to be. I would like that carbs to be a little bit lower and my proteins to be a little bit higher. But what I'm going to do is, after this, I'm also going to make myself a shake, and I'll log that as well. But with the shake, it's protein and fat are a lot higher than its carbohydrates. So that's going to kind of get me back in that balance. And remember, guys, it's not every single meal is going to be perfectly balanced with your macros. You've got to track it over the day. Pay attention to what you're doing and get that in. So All right, guys, this is the cold soaked oats. I know it doesn't look as delicious as it is. I don't know, it kind of almost looks like a bowl of chocolate ice cream or something, but it is absolutely delicious. I want to put the macros over here to the right of your screen, so keep that up for just a little bit so you can look and see what my macro breakdown is for this meal. All right, it's my second meal of the day. I'm having the protein shake, which is a chocolate peanut butter with almond milk. And just to show how my macros can change and how I can adjust foods and tweak different foods to fit the macros that I want to achieve. This shake, if you'll remember when I first made it, I was using oat milk. It had 120 calories versus almond milk now, which has 30 calories. The oat milk also had 21 grams of carbohydrates versus the almond milk, which has 1 gram of carbohydrates. And the protein, I think 4 grams of protein in the oat milk, 1 gram of protein in the almond milk. But I'm willing to make that 1 gram of protein hit for that 20 gram of carbohydrate hit. Second thing I'm doing today to change it is different protein powder. I was using the Orgain organic protein. The Orgain, don't know if you guys can see this here. Orgain had 15 carbohydrates with 21 grams of protein, and it had 4 grams of fat, 150 calories. The Purely Inspired organic protein has only 130 calories, only has 2 grams of fat, so half the fat. It only has 9 carbs, so a little bit more than half the carbs, but I'm dropping from 15 to 9, and I'm actually gaining dietary fiber. Even though this has less carbohydrates, it's got 1 more dietary fiber than the old protein powder, which had 6 grams of dietary fiber. I'm losing 1 gram of protein. I'm going with 20 grams of protein versus 21 grams of protein. But this completely changes my macros, because now my macros with this meal is 40% protein, 20% fat, and 40% carbohydrate. So I'm at a really good balance, especially to cut fat. With this meal, it's my second meal of the day. It's only been a little over 2 hours since I had breakfast, but one of the things that I try to do when I'm working to lose weight is, instead of having big meals, the 3 major meals of the day, I'll have about 5 or maybe 6 smaller meals throughout the day. All right, guys, moving right along. It's been about 2 hours since my last meal, and time for an afternoon snack. And I tell you, I'm not sponsored by anyone, but if anyone should sponsor me, it's these guys. I love the Planters Nutritious Heart Healthy Nut Mix. And no matter what diet I'm on, whether I've been on keto, whether I've been on carb busters, sugar busters, no matter what diet I'm on, I always make these part of it because they're just such a great, easy snack. You can grab a handful of them, knock the edge off your hunger, and go on with it. And you can always throw a bag of them in a pocket or in a pack because they're not going to go bad on you, you know, if you're out on the trail for a couple days. I keep these with me all the time. All right, so this is the nuts. This is 1 serving. It's 1 ounce or 28 grams. I actually like measuring grams because I can get a little bit closer. You can hit 1 ounce and then keep adding like 3 or 4 nuts and you're still at 1 ounce. But with the grams, it gets in there. It's a lot better gauge of what you're eating. Here's the nutritional value. You can see that with these I'm getting 15 grams of total fat. I'm getting 5 carbohydrates, and I'm getting 6 grams of protein with 170 calories. Now, I'll flash the macros up here in just a moment, and you can see that this has brought my daily nutritional value down a little bit more even. It's almost evenly divided across. My carbs and protein are a little bit higher than my fat, which is kind of where I want it to be. I'd rather my fats be a little bit lower and the carbs a little bit higher than where they are right now. But hey, I'm feeling pretty good about today. And so one of the reasons that I like to eat small meals like this, because as a diabetic, I have to check my blood 2 hours after each meal. Okay, I don't have to, but that's the recommendation. So one of the things I found, that if I eat small and I try to keep in mind that I'm going to see the results of the meal that I just ate on my glucose monitor when I check my blood, then it also helps keep me honest. By eating like this, then I eat 2 hours, check my blood, eat a snack. 2 hours later, check my blood, eat a small meal. 2 hours later, check my blood, have a snack. You see how it goes? That adds up to about 6 meals a day, but they're all small meals, and it keeps my glycemic index from roller coastering. It keeps it nice and steady. So one of the things that I had mentioned earlier was tracking my glucose really closely and seeing how this diet affects it. So going back, looking at my monitor over the past few months, my daily averages and monthly averages have been around 113, some weeks and months, up to about 118 to even 124. Since I've been on this diet, my daily average glucose has been 88. So that's pretty dang good. Really, as long as it's under 140, the doctor's happy. That keeps my A1C under 7, where they don't like to see it. But when I'm down under 100, my A1C is closer to 3 or 4, which is better than even non-diabetics have. So, all right, guys, meal number 4. Got some goodies going on the rotisserie, and I'm also going to try my hand at some of the Beyond Burgers. So the thing with vegetables is that they don't have a barcode on them, and you know, you kind of have to break out the scientific scale, weigh each one, determine the amount of calories in each, as well as fats and proteins and carbohydrates, and then you have to do some math. So I'm going to show you what I'm grilling here, and then I'll do a little bit of editing magic on the screen and pop up what my overall calories came up to for a serving with the mixed vegetables, and I'll also pop back in here in a minute and show you the Beyond Burgers. Alright, so here's my rotisserie going with the mixed vegetables in it, and I'll tell you what, yeah, it's vegan, but even if I wasn't eating vegan, my mouth would be watering looking at this right now. So it's just the mixed veggies going over the grill here on the rotisserie. See, I've got it indirect heat, fires over to the side, rotisserie's doing its magic, and man, these things are looking good. So we'll get some macros popped onto the screen here, and for your viewing enjoyment, I'll just keep the rotisserie going here in the screen. Alright, we got the Beyond Burgers on here now with the vegetables. Guys, I got to tell you, they smell really good. Alright guys, I finished eating dinner, and I got to tell you, those Beyond Burgers were really good. Kind of threw off my macros, though. I was not expecting. The Beyond Burgers have 20 grams of protein and only 6 carbs. So I was not expecting that. I thought they'd be a little bit more evenly balanced. But I got a plan for getting my macros back on track. Alright guys, this is it. Last meal of the day. I'm having an organic acacia bowl. I'll show you the packaging right here. Another item that comes from Costco. So a little bit earlier I showed you my macros. Weren't exactly where I wanted them. With the acacia bowl, I'm adding a little bit more carbs. I'm adding 29 carbs and only 3 proteins. So that's going to shift that a little bit more. My protein and fat, I would like to switch those around, but I tell you guys, they were really close and really in my ideal range. I'm getting about 1,400 calories today. 29% of those are protein, and when you think about at my age, weight, activity level, I should be getting about 88, 89 grams of protein a day. So I'm really right in where I should be. So I want to pop the macros up there while y'all enjoy watching me finish my just desserts for this really amazing day. Guys, I've enjoyed my time with you today. Hope you've enjoyed it too. Let's go out in style. Oh, that's good. Oh, vegan. This is good stuff. If I didn't have a beard, I'd stick my face on this bowl. That's it. Day 4. Done.